Just keep going, just keep going up, just keep going, just keep going up. You can't turn back, you come too far, you can't give up, you work too hard. Just keep going, just keep going up, just keep going, just keep going up. You can't turn back, you come too far, you can't give up, you work too hard.
Welcome to another episode of Dissertation in 90 Days. I'm delighted you're here, and today we're diving into one of the most crucial aspects of your dissertation journey, ethics in research. Picture this, your dissertation isn't just another requirement to earn your PhD. It's more than a document. It's a testament to your integrity and commitment to the academic community. Imagine it as a shining beacon of integrity, guiding others in the vast sea of academic research. Let me start with a story. A few years ago, a brilliant doctoral candidate faced a dilemma. They had spent months gathering data, only to realize that their methods hadn't fully complied with ethical standards. This oversight almost cost them their degree. They had to pause, reassess, and make corrections. It was a challenging time, but it underscored the profound importance of ethical considerations in research. In today's episode, we'll tackle the topic of navigating ethical considerations in your dissertation proposal. We'll break down what you need to know about ethical guidelines, how to ensure your research complies with these standards, and we'll even look at some real-world examples where ethical dilemmas have arisen in research. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear understanding of how to approach ethics in your own work, ensuring your research stands up to scrutiny and maintains the highest standards of integrity. Stick around, because we're about to embark on a journey that will not only safeguard your research, but also enhance its credibility and impact. Ethics isn't just a hurdle to overcome. It's a cornerstone of meaningful, impactful research. So let's get started on making your dissertation a beacon of integrity in the academic world. Now, let's delve into understanding ethical guidelines in research, a topic that's crucial for every PhD candidate. So, what exactly are ethics in research? At its core, research ethics involve maintaining integrity, honesty, and respect for everyone involved in your study. It's about ensuring that your research methods and interactions are conducted in a fair and responsible manner. When we talk about ethics, we're talking about principles that safeguard the dignity, rights, and welfare of participants. Without these principles, the credibility and validity of your research can be seriously undermined. Why is this important? Imagine you're conducting interviews for your research. It's not just about collecting data. It's about treating your participants with respect, ensuring their privacy, and being honest about the purpose of your study. This respect fosters trust, which is essential for any research to be credible and respected. Let's break down some common ethical guidelines. There are three main principles you need to be familiar with: respect for persons, beneficence, and justice. Respect for persons means recognizing the autonomy of individuals and protecting those with diminished autonomy. This involves obtaining informed consent, where participants are fully aware of what the study entails and any potential risks involved. Beneficence is all about minimizing harm and maximizing benefits. You should always strive to protect the well-being of your participants, ensuring that any potential risks are outweighed by the benefits of your research. Justice requires that the benefits and burdens of research be distributed fairly. This means selecting participants equitably and not exploiting any group or individual. These principles are embodied in major ethical guidelines and regulations, such as the Belmont Report and the APA guidelines. These documents provide a framework for conducting ethical research and are essential reading for any researcher. Now let's talk about the role of institutional review boards, or IRBs. The IRB is a committee that reviews research proposals to ensure they comply with ethical standards. Their approval is critical because they help safeguard the rights and welfare of participants. Submitting your proposal to the IRB involves several steps. First, you'll need to prepare a detailed research plan that outlines your methodology, how you'll recruit participants, and how you'll protect their privacy and data. You'll also need to include consent forms and any other relevant documents. Once you've submitted your proposal, the IRB will review it and may request modifications to ensure it meets ethical standards. This process can take some time, so it's important to plan ahead. Navigating these guidelines and getting IRB approval might seem daunting, but it's an essential part of conducting responsible and credible research. Taking these steps seriously ensures your work contributes positively to your field and respects the individuals who make your research possible. Now, let's get into the practical steps you can take to ensure ethical compliance in your research. First up, informed consent. This is a cornerstone of ethical research. Informed consent means that your participants fully understand what they're getting into and agree to participate willingly. You need to create a clear and concise consent form. This document should explain the purpose of your study, what participants will be asked to do, any potential risks, and their rights, including the right to withdraw at any time. Imagine explaining your research to a friend. That's the level of clarity you're aiming for in your consent form. It's crucial to have a conversation with your participants to make sure they truly understand their involvement. Don't just hand them a form to sign. Take the time to discuss it with them, answer any questions, and make sure they are comfortable with the information provided. This helps build trust and ensures they are making an informed decision. Next, let's talk about confidentiality and anonymity. Protecting your participants' privacy is vital. One way to do this is by assigning codes or pseudonyms instead of using real names. This anonymization helps keep identities private. When you're collecting data, store it securely, whether that's in a locked file cabinet for physical documents or encrypted files for digital data. The goal is to prevent unauthorized access and ensure that personal information remains confidential. Now, on to risk assessment. Identifying potential risks to your participants is a key part of ethical research. Think about any physical, emotional, or psychological risks that might arise. Once you've identified these risks, figure out how to minimize them. For instance, if your study involves discussing sensitive topics, make sure participants have access to support resources. Always prioritize participant safety and well-being. Let's move on to data management. This covers everything from how you collect data to how you store and share it. When collecting data, be transparent about how it will be used. Only gather what you need and ensure participants know their data will be kept secure. Storage is another important aspect. Whether you're using physical files or digital storage, ensure that data is protected against loss or theft. Use passwords, encryption, and secure backup methods to maintain data integrity. Sharing data also requires careful consideration. When publishing your findings or sharing data with other researchers, make sure that any personal information is removed or anonymized. This protects your participants and complies with ethical standards. By focusing on these practical steps, you can ensure that your research is ethically sound. Obtaining informed consent, maintaining confidentiality, assessing and mitigating risks, and managing data responsibly are all fundamental to conducting ethical research. Each of these steps builds on the previous one, creating a strong foundation for your work. It might seem like a lot, but taking these precautions not only protects your participants, but also enhances the credibility and integrity of your research. Remember, ethical research isn't just about following rules. It's about respecting the people who contribute to your study and ensuring that your work benefits the wider academic community in a responsible way. Let's move forward with these principles in mind and continue to uphold the highest standards in our research. In this segment, we're going to dive into some real-world examples and case studies that highlight ethical considerations in research. These stories will help you understand how to apply ethical guidelines in practical scenarios. Let's start with a case where protecting anonymity was crucial. Imagine a researcher conducting a study on whistleblowers within a large corporation. Participants were sharing highly sensitive information about unethical practices they had witnessed. In this situation, maintaining anonymity wasn't just important, it was essential to protect the participants from potential retaliation. The researcher assigned each participant a code and removed any identifying details from the data. This approach ensured that the whistleblowers' identities remained confidential, allowing them to speak freely and honestly. The lesson here is clear. When dealing with sensitive topics, safeguarding anonymity is a top priority. It builds trust and encourages open, honest participation. Next, let's look at an example involving challenges with informed consent. Consider a study focused on patients with cognitive impairments. These participants might not fully understand the study details or the implications of their involvement. In this case, the researcher faced the challenge of obtaining valid informed consent. They decided to include a legally authorized representative for each participant to help explain the study and ensure consent was genuinely informed. The researcher also used simple language and visual aids to make the information as clear as possible. This approach ensured that consent was ethically obtained, respecting the participants' rights and capacities. The takeaway: tailor your consent process to the needs of your participants, ensuring they fully understand and agree to take part in your research. Finally, let's discuss an ethical dilemma in field research. Picture a researcher studying the impact of mining on local communities. During the study, they discovered that some community members were being exploited by the mining company. This presented an ethical dilemma. Should the researcher intervene or remain an observer? The researcher decided to address the issue by reporting the exploitation to local authorities while continuing their study. They documented the ethical dilemma and the steps taken to resolve it in their research report. This transparency helped maintain the integrity of the study and highlighted the importance of ethical responsibility. The key lesson here is that as a researcher, you may face unexpected ethical challenges. How you respond to these challenges can significantly impact your research and the well-being of those involved. These examples show that ethical considerations in research are not just theoretical. They are real issues that researchers encounter and must navigate carefully. By learning from these cases, you can better prepare for the ethical challenges you might face in your own research. It's about being proactive, thoughtful, and always prioritizing the well-being of your participants. Let's continue to strive for the highest ethical standards in our work, making our research not only credible but also respectful and responsible. Now, let's talk about some practical tips for writing your dissertation proposal, focusing on integrating ethical considerations. When you're writing your proposal, it's crucial to weave in ethical considerations right from the start. Think about how you'll protect your participants, how you'll ensure informed consent, and how you'll handle data. Addressing these issues up front shows that you're serious about conducting responsible research. It also strengthens your proposal, making it more likely to get approved by your review board. One common pitfall students face is underestimating the importance of ethics. It's not just a box to tick, it's a core part of your research. Another mistake is being too vague about your ethical procedures. Be specific. Explain exactly how you'll protect confidentiality, how you'll get consent, and how you'll minimize risks. Clear, detailed explanations will make your proposal stronger and more credible. Resources and support are your allies in this process. Familiarize yourself with IRB guidelines. They provide a clear framework for ethical research. Ethics training programs can also be incredibly helpful, offering practical advice and case studies to guide you. Don't hesitate to seek mentorship. Experienced researchers can provide valuable insights and help you navigate complex ethical issues. Remember, writing a strong proposal isn't just about meeting requirements. It's about demonstrating your commitment to ethical research and ensuring the integrity of your study. Use these tips to build a solid foundation for your dissertation. And always keep in mind the importance of ethics in every step of your research journey. With these tools and insights, you're well equipped to create a proposal that's not only compelling, but also ethically sound. Let's move forward with confidence, knowing that we're upholding the highest standards in our work. As we wrap up today's episode of Dissertation in 90 Days, let's quickly recap the key points. We've explored the importance of ethics in research and how it's more than just following rules. It's about integrity, respect, and responsibility. We discussed practical steps like obtaining informed consent, maintaining confidentiality, assessing risks, and managing data ethically. We also looked at real-world examples to see these principles in action. Remember, ethical research isn't just a requirement. It's a commitment to making a positive impact in the world of academia and beyond. By prioritizing ethics, you're ensuring your work is respected and credible. I encourage you to integrate these ethical considerations into your research. It might take extra effort, but it's worth it. Your research will be stronger and you'll be contributing to a culture of integrity. Before we go, I invite you to visit the Grad Mentor Network for more resources and support. We're here to help you navigate your dissertation journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, share it with your peers, and join the conversation on social media. Thank you for tuning in, and let's continue to uphold the highest standards in our research. See you next time.